Yeah, I've never seen you this upset.
But I cannot even understand.
Your voice is cracked?
Bruh, yes, because I cannot even understand that someone would do some shit and have the fucking nerves to contact.
My entire life, I've been treated quite bad. I should also say, like, this is a warning. My English is not that good, and like, I'm just, I feel really alone, and I felt like I was gonna search YouTube for people with the same issue as me, and that is being really unattractive. And I've been having lots of issues with that because every video I come across is with a really attractive or normal person, and they have no idea how it really is. I was around 13 when I got my first serious friends. I was 13, 12 to 13, and they were like 16 to 18 beautiful alpha males, and like they were the first ones to start calling me ugly. And that was quite a shady neighborhood, so it's like they were with me because my mom gave them cigarettes and stuff, so they were like my guardians sorta, and they were the first people to call me ugly.
My man's from a fucked up country. Yo, listen, my man, God bless his heart.
They were friends with me because my mom gave them that is trailer trash.
No, that's just Eastern Bloc. That's not trailer trash. They don't got trailers out there. It's a different life.
Yes, it's a different kind of.
Yeah, that's just the Eastern Bloc. I could see a couple of countries where that's a reality. Interesting.
When I was 15, I realized that I wanted to have love in my life. I was 15 years when I realized I wanted that. And like the amount of people that rejected me is astonishing. It's unexplainable.
It's not astonishing. People base themselves on looks. That's the story that I told you. Like, have you ever seen a girl say to a guy in the bar, "Ew, that's that kind of guy"? I've seen that happen. I've paid so many drinks to so many guys like that. I was just trying to get some. And that's fair. Everybody wants some.
Maybe it's not astonishing to you, but to people who don't know this reality exists,
yeah,
probably is astonishing. I know it because I've dealt with it firsthand. Like when he was talking about not being desired at all in early school, that's me. But listen, I didn't get some until I was 18. And when I did, very awkward circumstances. But I had nobody paying me no mind. And I'm a decent looking guy today. But trust me, I was hella dusty most of my life.
Yeah,
and I mean extra dusty.
I've seen some pictures.
Yes, very dusty. So I may not be on his level the same way he may not be on other people's level, but I do understand it. We're not in different categories. We're just in different degrees. Beautiful people are in different categories.
Yeah, absolutely. Even I was in that category because there was a point that it was not cool being black.
Sure, but you've been having a girl.
Yeah, but I'm even talking about before that. There was some point that it was not cool being black. You know, I'm pushing 40, bro. So when I was in elementary school, it was not cool being black, let alone being Haitian. So there was all types of ill. I'm talking about pre my girl, before my girl. Just when you just start to interact with girls and stuff like that, it was not that cool.
Right.
So yeah, I was not surprised, man. It's a messed up thing. What he's talking about, I can relate to when people were not chasing me and I was, well, is there something wrong with me? Yeah. The thing that was wrong with me is I was black. I'm not saying there's something wrong with being black, but at the time, that was not the standard.
I think the total sum from when I was 15 to 17 was well over 400 or 500 girls that I wrote with, that I tried to get into a relationship with.
Well over! I take that back. That's astonishing.
That's a lot of attempts.
That's not even a lot of women. That's a lot of people. I don't even think I approached 400 or 500 people in my life.
This guy must have been walking, was just stopping everyone he saw. That's a lot of women to approach, bro.
But at some point when you're desperate.
Maybe he's like messaging them online as well, so he's going that. That's still a lot.
The less options that you have, you're just trying to shoot your shot. You understand?
Bruh, I understand that. I've done that. This is a lot, and at that age, especially when your ego's that fragile, to be that persistent.
He took a lot of L's. You say 2 L's equals a win?
I didn't say anything about 3,000.
So I set up, like, I tried to write with girls, and I wrote with girls that were overweight, that didn't look so good. Some of them had a big nose like me, some had big lips.
So this guy was doing it all online. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. I think he was just messaging a whole bunch of people online and trying everything. So, I mean, online, you're going to take a lot more losses than you will in person. That's a fact. He wasn't approaching people in person. He was writing them online, which already is one of the worst ways you can approach people if you're unattractive and you're ugly. Trust me, my online game is okay. All right, in person, I do way better.
Online game is okay?
Meaning, if I was to approach a girl online, my odds of success are way lower than if I was to do it in person. That's a fact.
Okay.
Online, you're looking at pictures. That's all you got. First off, men are not good at taking pictures.
No.
Compared to women got that shit down pat.
Angles and
Look
shit.
at men's Instagram, women's Instagram, night and day,
Absolutely.
right? Second thing is, that's all they have to go off. If you are a man, there are other qualities that they will find endearing, whether it's your skill, whether it's your charm, whether it's your ability to carry conversations in person. Online conversations, they're different. It's hard to really get your personality across. So him having this lack of success is going to be not surprising to me because he's using the medium that is least conducive to his success.
You're right. You're right.
Some had shorter hair. I even wrote with about, I think it was like three girls that were handicapped.
This man really just said, even the in the wheelchair said nah. I was like, yo, girl, let me roll you around this block. She's like, nah, let me get a cute. So that's funny. Listen, it's not surprising, bro, because here's the truth. Ugly dudes should not be involved in the online game. It's like a 5'2" athlete trying to get into the NBA. Bro, you got better chances at a lot of other sports. The NBA is just not for you.
You can't.
It's not. So go to a sport where height is not a problem and you could really showcase your athletic strengths.
I'm going to tell you this. If you're ugly, go out there.
And every single one called me ugly. Every single one. And after 2 years, I gave up. I simply gave up totally. And when I gave up, I started to care more about writing with people who had it difficult, who were sad, and like who didn't have it easy. And that's when I first met the first girl in my life that wanted to be with me. And I spent 7 years with that girl. And I regret it very much.
I'm just laughing.
That one got me. I didn't see that coming. That one really got me.
I didn't know he was going there.
I respect him. Even in his desperate state, he was like, man, I should have dumped that bitch. Here's two things. One, he was doing this when he was 15 to 17. Let me tell you, that is the worst time as a man to be approaching people if you're unattractive. Trust me, most of my L's are happening in my early adult life. It is the most difficult time to approach and try to meet people, and it will scar you forever. Because one, your personality is not that well developed yet. So if you're probably not charming. You're going to learn those skills later on as you grow older. You have no money. You have no equity. Women are only looking at looks and popularity. Most people will tell you, like, a lot of people are late bloomers, right? They're terrible pre-high school, pre-university, and then afterwards it gets better. And the reason for being is like you come into your own. You start to bring other things to the table other than your looks, and your partners start to look for things in their partners other than their looks. So, or not necessarily other than, but they won't be the only priority that they're looking at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Writing with people who had it difficult, who were sad, and like who didn't have it easy.
What he's doing afterwards is that he's surrounding himself with people who are probably in a toxic mind state, who are suffering from the same problems. And so it becomes a perpetual cycle where you only hear negative feedback from people who suffer like you.
You're spiraling down.
Right? If you're an addict and you're recovering and you spend time with addicts, you're more likely to relapse. It's the reality of these things. So your circle will affect the way that your mindset progresses.
That was a girl that treated me so badly and was just using me. She called me ugly. She forced me to walk 5 to 10 meters behind her. She'd never hold my hand. She never kissed me.
Whew. Okay. All right, I'm good. No, let me take a second.
Oh.
Okay. All right, I got it.
You got it?
This is what happens when a bad person with low self-esteem meets somebody with lower self-esteem.
That is desperate.
What she did is bad. The fact that he accepted it is worse, but he accepted it because his self-esteem was that low that he thought that this is what he deserved in a weird way.
7 years?
I mean, listen, when your self-esteem is there, it's not surprising. There's people who stay with partners who beat them every day.
Yeah.
And they die with those partners.
Yeah, sometimes they do.
So it's all about how you view yourself and what you think you deserve.
It's how you value yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
She never did anything to show appreciation of me. She just simply used me. And it was not a good relationship. She never cared about me. She was always angry, aggressive. And for the first half year, she didn't really want to be in an actual relationship with me. She just wanted to be with me. We had sex and we had fun, I guess.
I'm glad he at least got some poom poom out of it. I was worried he was going to say I had to stand by the bed while she banged somebody else. I would have been like, all right, listen, iDubbbz, calm down. But jokes. But here's what does make me optimistic. This man is very self-reflective, and he's able to speak on his past relationships honestly and candidly and see it for what they were, which tells me that he's really been able to move past it. And that gives me optimism. Sometimes you hear people reflect on past relationships that were terrible and they speak about it with fondness. And that's always a red flag to me because I'm like, ooh, you're going to fall into that again.
You're not out of your bad habits.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what keeps me optimistic about his outlook, even though this is a sad story.
Or 4 years. Then I moved. And she didn't move with me. She was like, it's not worth it. If you move, it's over. So I moved. It was over. And then she started calling me and being like, you should take me back because you are unlovable. I remember those words so clearly. You are unlovable.
I take back what I said earlier. This is what happens when a truly terrible and despicable person with low self-esteem meets somebody with lower self-esteem. Unlovable. You don't even know what love is. For you to utter those words, you are incapable of such emotion. What?
Can I say it?
Go ahead.
Who raised you?
There are two things I'm thinking right now. One is that I thought I would understand a lot of this guy's experiences because of my being raised and my issues with self-esteem and how I've always looked. Now, because this is so outlandish to both of us, maybe we don't understand.
No, we don't.
And maybe we're in a different category and we didn't realize it.
We're in the mid categories.
Or maybe is that maybe he just latched onto a really bad apple. Because I know attractive people who've been with
But why did he latch to that?
Again, here's my thing. I know attractive people who date someone who does things to them that I think is completely outlandish. So I don't think it's necessarily about him being that unattractive and this happens to ugly people. I think this is just a low self-esteem thing. Which can be, it's much more prevalent with people who are ugly. But I honestly believe, I'm just freeballing here, because this is crazy to me. But again, I think I see attractive people with relationships that are crazy as well. The reality is that if you are more attractive, the odds of you having higher self-esteem are probably raised due to the fact that you're probably going to receive more positive feedback. Because our self-esteem, to some degree, is informed by how our community views us. And if you're ugly and you're constantly getting reinforcement from people that are like, yo, you're terrible, blah, 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 get away from me, you're unlovable, you're much more likely to have lower self-esteem, whereas a pretty person receiving positive reinforcement all the time is more likely to have higher higher self-esteem.
Yeah.
I would assume.
That's the worst thing I ever felt, and I was like, screw this. That's the first time I started writing again with new girls. It had been 3 years, or almost 4. I had lost weight. I had started exercising more. I was a bit stronger. Things were a little bit easier, and I started writing with new people in my area. I managed to find a girl there, and by that time, I met her. We were just friends. It was chill. She was actually a terrible human being.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is like a stealth bomber. He keeps hitting me when I least expect it. This man is killing me, but he... My man... My man... Oh, shit. That's funny. Oh, shit. Yo, the way he candidly said that shit, no hesitation. I like this guy.
Oh, he's good.
He's funny. Let's keep going.
He's good.
Here we go.
Sorta got really annoyed of being alone, and my ex wanted to come and visit me, the girl I was with for all those years that treated me so bad. And I was so weak, so I said okay. And I spent another it was about 3 years. I've spent 7 in total with her, so it was about 3 more years with her. And those years sorta improved quite a lot. They were a lot better than the first 3 years, so it wasn't that bad.
You want to know why it was better? Because your self-esteem was better, and what you were willing to tolerate was probably better. Because you had some hope, and you probably were a little bit more astute in who you were. When it comes to relationships, what I do know is if you set your boundaries accordingly, people tend to respect them. And that doesn't mean just telling people what you won't accept. That means that when they cross those boundaries, there are repercussions. Not in the sense that you're going to hit them, but that you will leave. They need to understand that there are things that you will not accept in order for this relationship to work. That's it.
But it didn't work out because I was so unhappy. I was extremely unhappy. It felt like we had nothing in common. She was always angry, moping, complaining, and she didn't feel good, and I didn't feel good. We were just tearing each other down, and I couldn't forget all the things in the past. And like we had nothing in common except just being angry on each other. So we broke up, and that was about 5 months ago now. And I moved past everything quite easily.
Didn't I tell you that earlier? That this man moved on? That's 5 months ago. That's impressive. For a 7-year relationship, my man, he probably moved on well into the 3-year period. He'd already moved past it. They just hadn't broken up yet.
Yeah, it was just, he was just used to.
I can tell you a few things that I've been through. I've met people that are girls that are extremely overweight and don't look well as well. And they tell me, you're not my type, you're way too ugly. Or they make up an excuse.
You know what this is like? You know what this is like? I think what he's describing is like when a homeless person goes up to another homeless person and they're like, hey, can I sit beside you? And they're like, ew, get away from me, you're homeless. But you're like, bitch, you homeless too?
You shit with me.
I think that's how he views it.
Yeah.
The problem is the homeless person he approached does not think that they're homeless like him.
No, I'm not that type of homeless.
I'm just trying to explain the perspective of the other person when they're saying that kind of stuff. Because people can be overweight and you can view them as on your level. Doesn't mean that they view themselves that way. Because your attractiveness level to yourself is based off how you view yourself.
You think they're ugly. They said, excuse me, I'm fat, not ugly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's how they view themselves. Yeah. Which makes your perspective in regards to you being treated unfairly wrong. Does that make sense? Because you're expecting a response from them based off what you perceive about them, right? The problem is they don't perceive themselves the way you perceive them.
Yeah.
And they're justified in that. So for you to be mad or upset about their response as a result, to me, is a little strange, because the same way I'm not entitled to tell you how you should perceive yourself, you're not entitled to tell others how they should perceive themselves when you approach them. Make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
And then there was this time when I had a date with a girl, and I had spent lots of money on making a perfect day together. Like I had set up everything perfectly, and I went on the subway over an hour, and I stood on the train on the train station, and I looked for her for 2 hours before I was like, okay, she gave up.
I knew it, nigga. I know us. Oh man, I knew you got stood up.
Oh, you got stood up. Yeah, you got stood up.
Yeah, I've been stood up before.
Yeah, you got.
I know what that's like. Yeah.
And then I went home, and then she wrote that when she saw me, I was so ugly. She didn't have the encouragement to talk to me. I haven't been able to live a normal life because my friends were commenting on me not looking good. My family's been commenting on it. Everyone's always pointing it out, and I get so frustrated.
You need better friends. You need better friends. I don't know what else to tell you. Listen, I have friends who are ugly. One thing I do not tell them is that they're ugly. I don't reinforce that. I don't say that kind of stuff. For people to constantly say that to you casually as if it's okay, that says a lot about them.
They ugly.
That's an ugly comment to make. I would not think. Listen, maybe it's just my environment. I don't know what it is, but those kind of comments would never fly. So the idea that all these people are saying this and it's a result of you being ugly. No, all these people are saying this because the people that are surrounding you aren't the best people. Same goes for your family.
Family is trash.
All right? If they're constantly putting down your self-esteem all the time, that's not a good sign. And it should be something you look into in terms of leaving that area, if you have to.
Yeah.
You know, it's not because everyone around you puts their hands on you or beats you up that people like that everywhere, or it's because of your race or whatever. No, it could just be that your environment, your immediate surroundings are just bad.
It's toxic.
You know, and you meet one friend who's bad and then you meet friends through that friend, there's more likelihood of that friend having bad friends is very high. But trust me, there are better people out there for you.
It's like Tinder, but it's called Bado. It's like Tinder pretty much, where I automatically love every person, no matter who. It's like a special algorithm for a program that I made, so that I click a button and it likes 600 people every day, which is the limit. And I've done that for over 10 days, so I know easily it's over 6,000 people that I have liked on that side, like and wants to write with.
And I just want to make a note. What he said about the 600 likes a day, I know he's talking about.
I know.
When I used Tinder,
you show me.
When I used Tinder originally, well, they don't know.
Yeah.
When I used Tinder originally, I had this thing called the Tinder auto liker. Bro, Tinder in its back in the day was fire. Flamethrower, yoga, flame, thousand, Street Fighter, nice, hot, scorching,
Because
lava.
You was just
all day, bro. Listen, I would hit one button and it was just like I would clear out the city within 3 days. 3 days I would clear it all. It'd be like there's no one left to like.
Yeah.
Do you know what that's like in a major city? There's no one left to like. And then I would have this ability to change my location. So if I knew I was going somewhere, I was like, brrr. So when I would travel, I'd be like, hey girl, you know what I'm saying? I'm coming through. And then I'd just have a place to stay. when you broke and you want to travel, Tinder auto liker, beast.
But it doesn't exist no more.
No, they find ways to cap everything. It's no longer the app it used to be. It's pretty much trash. I haven't used Tinder in like 3 years now.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that he has no success with it, I could definitely see that hurting. But again, it's like I said earlier, like I have an extremely hard time with online dating. It really is difficult for me. So I imagine you, who's probably lower on the scale by your own standards, then you're going to have a harder time too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, online dating is not built for men who are below average. That doesn't mean that you can't find women or that you can't get, like you talked about the girl that you met in your city. Great. You would be able to meet more women like that or better if you were talking to them in person or if you were engaging in social activities that enable you to meet other people. I'll give you an example. I salsa dance. Okay. Now, I don't meet women through salsa dancing. It's not my thing, but I know a lot of ugly dudes who do. And I mean terrible looking dudes. But the fact that they've built up a skill and they know how to talk to women and ask them to dance and showcase their skill, it makes them endearing to women. I'm not saying that you necessarily have to do that, but there are activities that you can engage in and get good at that will make you more endearing to the opposite sex.
The thing that happened, the thing that struck me is that he built things to be able to date but he didn't build himself.
Yes, I agree with that. Keep going.
You know what I mean? Like, he built algorithms. I'm gonna hit more people. Yo, you have to. What works for ugly people, for ugly men, whatever, it's to better yourself. A bit like what you were saying with the salsa dancing and stuff like that. You have to acquire more skill sets. If you just change the algorithm, change who I'm gonna date, change younger, go with more people, date with more people, increase the number, but you don't add value to who you are, it's not gonna do anything. You're still gonna be the same person. You're just gonna shoot more shots.
Here, there's evidence of that in his own story, because initially when he was with his girl, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And then when he built a little bit more self-esteem up and built some
you're
distance, it did improve. That was him raising his own profile.
Yeah.
So he changed the way things went a little bit better.
Sad when people look away. They are like, no, we don't want a guy like you as our friend. Like, eh. And I'm currently in a situation where I'm waiting for plastic surgery because that's the only way. And I'm telling you this right now. If you're unattractive, the only way for you to get a normal life is to work, earn up money, or go to the hospital, get psychiatric help. And if it's severe enough, they will give you free surgery or whatever.
Your plastic surgery can only make you marginally better looking. It can't make you substantially fix you, right? Yeah. So you're going to come out of this thinking it's going to fix your problems. Reality is going to hit you hard, and it's going to hurt your self-esteem even more. Man, you thought this was going to be a fast fix. It doesn't fix the issue, and your self-esteem is going to plummet more. Let me tell you this. These kinds of elective surgeries, they're not going to fix what you have going on the inside. It is hard work, and it is unfair that some people have to work way harder than others in order to get there. But it is your reality.
Especially if you're a guy. This is also a guy problem. Because if you are a girl, it doesn't really matter how you look. Because there's so many guys like me, or in a similar situation, there's so many of us. Unexplainable amount. If you're a girl, you can find these guys.
Here's the thing. What he's misunderstanding is that women don't want guys like them, because women base a lot of their values on the kind of man they choose. And so if you are low quality, just the same way, it's like your girl, right? Your girl had you, but what did she do? She didn't want you to flaunt you to anybody. She said, walk 5 meters behind me. Why? Because you didn't fulfill her needs. So even though she was desperate and she needed one and she had you, she wasn't content, because women do not derive their pleasure that way. And so to think that just because there's a lot of desperate men that women and ugly women will be fulfilled, you're wrong about that. And you're misrepresenting what their experience is like, because I can assure you there are a lot of ugly women who have it extremely difficult.
Yup. No, I think in the last part you was really wrong about that. It's not really that. You have to improve. You can improve your skills. You have to. What do you have to talk about? What do you have? It's different ways. I mean, me being an ugly kid when I was a kid, the thing that got me out of there was comedy. Comedy made me more appealing. You're not gonna be attractive, but you're going to be appealing. And then you being appealing is going to change your self-esteem. There's a lot of things that revolves, a lot of the problems that he has right here that revolves about self-esteem. If you change your self-esteem and stuff like that, it's going to better you.
But he's going to argue that you're one of those guys who looks normal or looks pretty good.
Fair.
So you can't understand his.
No, I cannot. But it's still a fact that everything that he's trying to change was things around him and not him. He was not trying to better himself, and that's a fact. Whether I'm ugly, whether I'm pretty, whether I'm normal, it doesn't matter. It's a recurring thing in what you said, and you said it yourself. It showed in his speech of what he said that as soon as you increase your self-esteem, it was better with the other girl, wasn't it? Because there was probably some other shit that you were not willing to deal with because you were less enabling her. So that's not an argument to me.
No, I get it. I was just playing his.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
I would just. It does get better. It can get better, but it really comes down to your approach to it. And I know, for a lot of dudes who haven't gotten there, it seems hopeless. And for a lot of people who are in a similar situation, it's like, this guy's just saying that because he kind of looks good and he's got to... Bruh, before I had this, it was going better for me. I think once I got my finances in order, I worked hard. Like he mentioned before, I built a couple of skill sets with dance. It enabled me to conversate and to feel more comfortable in myself. And it displayed ambition, it displayed some value, and so people started to see that in me. But it really just came down to effort. And it's hard to tell someone that when they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, to tell them to keep digging. But it is there. If Flava Flav can make it, there's a lot of other people who can make it. So just don't give up, all right? And I know we laughed a little bit, we kind of cracked some jokes, but just also be sure like we're not mocking you and we're not trying to belittle you. We understand it's a real problem. But I would just say you don't have to give up. So that's pretty much all I got.
That's it.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys agree with the experience? Maybe you've had a similar experience. Let's talk about what it's like being ugly.